I'd like to welcome Courtney to the stage to talk about emergency communications.
Thank you. Hi guys, how are you today? Thank you. This is such a cool facility. I've never been up here. So my name is Courtney Laskowski. I work with the Ada County Sheriff's Office, and I am a 911 dispatch or emergency communications supervisor. I've been at the Sheriff's Office for 7 years. And 911 dispatch, in case you're interested, is the best job in the world. So in case you're looking, look no further. I found it, and we are hiring. So see me later. We'll get you plugged in. So today I'm going to talk to you about emergency communications. Basically, every call, whether it is law enforcement, fire, paramedics, every call for service in Ada County starts in dispatch. So it's very important to understand how this works. The information I'm sharing with you today is specific to Ada County. Different dispatch centers across the country work slightly differently. So this is specific to here. If you live here and you have family that live here, please share this information that you're learning today with your family. I'm a huge believer that bringing this information and education to the public will help save lives. So let's go ahead and get started. There we go.
Welcome to the Ada County 911 Communications Dispatch Center.
I just saw a terrible markup.
Okay. All right, we're going to get help started to you. Okay, is anyone injured?
Yeah, this is both her aircraft. With a twin chest connector. Really bad.
Are you with the patient now?
I am.
Any increases in
Sheriff 71, your call for aid has been DPI, ECMU Road, South Meridian Road.
Okay, I think some of the paramedics are helping out, staying on the line, I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Do not submit to any injuries. For everyone's safety, tell any bystanders to stand well clear of approaching traffic and if it's safe to do so. Turn on flashing hazards for us. Okay, would you like me to stay on the line with you?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, you did a great job. On our way.
If someone is hurt or in danger, call 911. Here are 4 things to keep in mind.
Stay calm and speak fairly. Being understood will get you help faster.
We give instructions to keep people safe and to save lives. So it's very important to listen to those instructions because you could potentially save a life before first responders get there.
Know where you are, whether it's an address, close landmark, or intersection.
Don't hang up the phone. If you accidentally call in 911, then let us know you're okay. Or if you have an emergency and we can't talk, just stay in the line so that we can hear what's going on and don't hang up.
Thank you for making Ada County a safer place to live, work, and play.
All right, so at the Ada County Sheriff's Office and in Ada County, our 911 dispatch center also answers emergency calls. So like I said, all calls for service start in dispatch. We answer 911 and non-emergency calls. We ask a lot of questions, which can be frustrating, especially if you're witnessing a true emergency. But we ask those questions for very specific reasons because we want to make sure that we're getting you the right help to the right place at the right time. We do give a lot of instructions. We are emergency medical dispatch certified in our dispatch center. That means that we provide instructions while we're getting help on the way to you. Things like delivering babies over the phone, we do that. Everything down from if you get a pencil stuck in your eye, we give instructions for that as well. We give hands-on CPR instructions, what to do if someone is injured from a various range of things, from falling off of a ladder to tripping and falling on a sidewalk. We give instructions for everything that you could possibly think of on a medical or fire basis as well now. So while all that's going on in the background, we're already driving to you. Let's see, and we send help. Obviously, that's what dispatch is, right? So the agencies that we dispatch for every agency, police, fire, and paramedic in Ada County. These are all of the police agencies that we dispatch for. So the city of Boise, Garden City, all unincorporated areas of the county, as well as our contract cities of Kuna, Star, and Eagle. For the fire department, for the Boise Fire Department, Kuna, Star, Meridian, Eagle, and the Ada County paramedics. Go back to that for a second. It's just a great image. I can't really do better than that. No. So how many calls do you guys think that we take in a year? 911 and non-emergency, just shout it out. 30,000 calls, 911 and non-emergency. Any other guesses? A million, okay. Any other guesses out there? All right. So these are some of our call statistics. So over 400,000 calls per year into our dispatch center. We're a bit busy. And of those, over 155,000 of them are 911 calls. The balance are non-emergency calls. We also have text to 911 in Ada County as well. And we're going to be talking also about some life-saving technology that is available for free to the public that I'm really hoping you guys all take advantage of and know about and share with everyone in your family and friends about by the end of today. All right, most common call, any guesses? Okay, traffic complaints, any other guesses? Traffic accident, what was it? Heart, like heart problems, chest pain. Speeding vehicles are actually our most common call is the accidental dial to 911. We talk to more pockets in a day sometimes. So we actually over 10% of our total call volume are accidental dials to 911. So that fourth thing on there where they said if you accidentally call, please stay on the line and let us know that you're okay. We do need to assume that every call into dispatch was made on purpose. So we have to go through certain protocols and steps to make sure that even if your kid was playing with the phone, accidentally called, you put it in your cup holder and it started making a weird noise, those calls come in even if you try to hang up right away. So just staying on the line and letting us know that you're okay is very helpful to us and doesn't tie up as many resources or 911 lines. All right, anyone know how old 911 is? Any guesses? How old is 911? 30 years old? 50 years old? Getting closer. 60 years old? Right in between. 911 is actually only about 55 years old, and it's only been in Ada County since 1980. I was born in 1982, so it is really, really, really young, okay? Yeah, really, really, really young. So it's only been in Ada County since 1980. So there are a lot of misconceptions about 911 and how it works. When I first started here 7 years ago, it actually shocked me because 911 was always around for me. However, the way emergency communications used to work was if you needed police, you would call the police station. If you needed the fire department, you would call the fire department. If you needed to go to the hospital, you would call the paramedics or the fire department. And so Senator Rankin Fight decided this is too confusing across the country, especially when we get more people traveling around. We need one number for everyone to call. So because 911 is nationwide, what I would get when I first started was 911, what's the address of your emergency? Boise, Idaho. Okay, where at in Boise, Idaho? Because they honestly thought, and many people do think that they're calling a national center, one huge building where there's these old school operators that are 911, what's your emergency? And then they're plugging in to everywhere across the country. A lot of people believe that. A lot of people also believe that I'm physically going to go get in my car and drive to them, okay? So imagine if this is your belief, calling, and then I'm staying on the phone with you for 5 minutes and you don't see anybody, and I'm asking you all these questions and I'm telling you what to do, and you're going, I want you to be here to help me do this thing. I want you, like, why are you still asking me these questions? And they would get very frustrated. So they don't understand that while I'm talking to you, I've already sent the call to our dispatcher. They're already getting responders on their way to help you in emergency situations. So a lot of misconceptions, which is why we're here today. All right. I don't know that I have time to go through all of these, but if you have questions about specific things you think how 911 works, you're welcome to come talk to me. I'm going to be here most of the day today, so come find me. One of the common questions I get from a lot of high schoolers when I go to high schools and teach this curriculum is, do you guys know the pizza code? Like if I call and I say, I want to order a pizza, and I want pepperoni, that means that it's a domestic violence situation. We sure do not know that. However, we are highly trained with our dispatchers that if you are giving us like an indication that you can't speak freely, we'll start asking you yes or no questions. So trying to get to that. So are there any weapons going on? Is anyone injured? And like, yes or no. I've had people talk to me like you're talking to your sister. Okay, talk to me like you're talking to someone who went on a date last week. and I'll get that information. And then leaving that line open, even if you can't talk, if it needs to be put on your phone, set on a table with it face down, that's also helpful as well, because we're also trained to try to listen to things in the background and let our responders know what's going on. Okay, obviously for 911, you call 911 for emergencies, anything life-threatening or crimes in progress, or if you need to go to the hospital, even if it's like, well, I fell, broke my arm, there's not life-threatening. If you need to go to the hospital, completely fine to call 911. For everything else in Ada County, the non-emergency dispatch number is there. If you don't have it on your phone, please take your phones out and save that number into your phone for Ada County Dispatch, non-emergency dispatch. Look at, we got Michelle over there. She's all over it. Awesome. All right. So I genuinely hope that you never have to call 911. Most people in their lifetime won't ever have to call us. But if you do, these are some things for you guys to keep in mind, okay? So if you can take a breath, when we are witnessing a true emergency, our brains don't work the same way that they're working here today. Okay, I've had people who completely forget their address, can't articulate what's going on. So if you can try to take that big breath of oxygen to get all those functions going in your brain before you have to speak to us, that's helpful. Talking really fast or yelling into the phone doesn't get you help faster, because we have to be able to understand you. So being able to take that breath and try to speak calmly and clearly is very helpful. Knowing where you are, location is key. If we don't know where to send help, it's nearly impossible to send help, right? So trying to know where you are. Teaching your kids. Anyone have kids that are just now driving or going to be driving in the next couple years? Okay, I highly encourage you, but you have to be good at this first, okay? North, south, east, and west, okay? When I taught my kids, because I was in dispatch for several years prior to teaching them to drive, I would not let them tell me how to get somewhere by saying right or left. I said, okay, we're gonna go to the mall, and we're leaving from Meridian at Locust Grove and Pine. Which direction are we gonna have to turn when we get onto Franklin? Well, I'm gonna go left. What direction is that? East, Mom. Yeah. So those kind of things helps us to be able to know direction of travel, exactly where you are. If someone rear ends you and you're at Fairview and Eagle, for instance, and you're heading, from Meridian to Boise on Fairview, someone rear ends you, then they take off and they turn right. Which way are they going? What'd you say? South. At the cop in the rooms, they say south. Yes, you're right. South. Okay. So imagine calling 911. This red truck just hit me. I think I'm okay. I'm not injured, but we want to catch that guy just as much as you want us to catch you. So we're going to say, how many minutes ago did you see him? Just now, like 1 minute ago, he took off. He went right. Okay, which direction is that? I don't know. He went right. Onto Eagle. Okay, well, were you facing east or were you facing west? Okay, and now the clock is ticking. Okay, this guy's already on the freeway, right? So being able to say, this guy rear-ended me, he took off southbound, giving us the vehicle description, those kinds of things. It's very helpful, knowing where you are. And also, exact address is always going to be best, but nearest landmark. So being aware of that, being aware of where you are, and teaching your kids to be aware of that as well is very important. Answering all questions, like I said, getting the right help to the right place at the right time is our goal. And following instructions. Again, those emergency medical dispatch instructions can save lives. So partnering with you while you're on the phone and getting that help to the person while help is on the way, truly you guys can be the first lifesavers that are right there on scene. And don't hang up. Please don't hang up on us. We're really nice. Please don't hang up on us. All right, so here's how staffing works. Generally, we have 7 to 11 dispatchers on duty at any given time. 2 of us are dispatching. We are not answering the phones. We are sending calls to law enforcement. We have 2 law enforcement channels for the city of Boise and Garden City. The other one is for everything else, the city of Meridian, all the unincorporated areas in our contract cities. They are not answering the phones. One is an admin dispatcher, basically doing administrative duties for officers. Be honest, who's been pulled over? Okay, we have some honest people, okay? The cop comes to your window and says, license and registration, and then they're back to their squad car for an hour and 45 minutes, right? And if it's at night, they've got the light shining in your face. Feels like a long time. If it's in Ada County, one of the things that they're doing is they're going over to this administrative channel and they're running your plate. They're running you. They're making sure that there's no one in your car that may have a warrant or be dangerous. If there's a car accident, this dispatcher is going to be the one that calls the tow company. The officer's not going to stand on the side of the road and call a tow company, okay? There is one admin dispatcher on a radio channel for all of Ada County. So imagine it being a Friday night at 5:30. Are there going to be multiple accidents? Are there going to be multiple traffic stops? In all of Ada County, yes, this dispatcher is busy. They're typically not answering 911 calls either. They'll help us back up phones, put lines on hold when things get busy, but we try to keep them available for the officers and for you to get you on your way as soon as possible, okay? All right, we also have a primary emergency medical services dispatcher. They are dispatching for fire and EMS, similarly to the dispatchers that are there on the bottom corner. They're not answering the phones either. Then, we always have at least one more trained, and I'll explain why that is, to do the same thing as the emergency medical dispatcher. The balance of us are 911 call takers, answering 911 calls and non-emergency calls for all of Ada County. So let's say we have a crime in progress. Someone calls 911, there's an armed robbery at the Village in Meridian, okay? Got it. I've got 5 more minutes. I'm gonna speed talk through this. All right, so we've got an armed robbery, let's say, in progress in the city of Meridian. This call taker is going to keep this caller on the phone and ask questions in a very specific way as quickly as possible. They're gonna enter that call in for service, and our county dispatcher is gonna get that out, okay? They're gonna get officers on the way, and they're gonna say, officers en route, go to a side channel. Now this dispatcher, this call taker who has this call, they have their headset on, they're typing at the same time, they're talking to this caller, trying to keep them safe, trying to get information on the suspect, typing this all in, and then they're using a little paddle down here and going over the radio and talking to the officers that are on their way. This is multitasking on steroids, okay? But they're doing all of this simultaneously, trying to keep everyone safe and trying to give the best information to our first responders while they're on the way. Now we don't have one more 911 call taker, do we? Okay? Same way, if there's a structure fire, we're gonna get that information, enter it in. Our dispatcher is gonna get that call going. This is the address, this is how many people are in the house. They're gonna keep that caller on the phone, trying to gather information, keep that caller safe. Is there a gas fire? Are there any hazards in the garage? Or is there paint, anything like that? Any explosives possibly that we should be concerned with? While that's going, firefighters are already on their way, driving lights and sirens, and that channel is going to go to the other dispatcher, because while we have a structure fire and while we have an armed robbery in progress, Ada County is large. Grandma may still fall down the stairs in Boise, right? We still need that fire dispatcher to get help to her. There may still be a prowler in your neighborhood walking around car to car, and you want officers to go to that as well, okay? So it can get very busy very quickly in the dispatch center. In cases like this, you may call the non-emergency line and be put on hold because we're handling, our floor may look like this. All right. Some of the life-saving technologies we have here, and again, I will be available today if you have any specific questions about any of these. We do have services for people who don't speak English as their first language, for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. And then we have text to 911. If you can call us, please do. But we do have text to 911 available. And then the big thing that I want all of you guys to know about is Rapid SOS, okay? This is a location service that is free to us, free to you. And I want all of you today to have your emergency profile set up. And I'll explain what that is here in just a moment. Hopefully that'll play.
We take all of the police, fire, and EMS emergency and non-emergency calls for the entire county.
Seconds save lives.
Seconds and minutes can make a huge difference. A lot can happen.
The data we get from Rapid SOS ready devices is life-saving.
Rapid SOS to me, it's like another brain. I can know where my emergency is even before the emergency comes in.
Okay, so Rapid SOS basically works with location services the same way as Snapchat does, the same way as Siri does. Okay, so when you say I need directions to Walmart, right, it goes through the internet and gets you that information as quickly as possible. Okay, if you have your phone set up and is Rapid SOS ready, and if you have your iPhone set up to where it's emergency SOS ready, it gives us that information in dispatch, okay? So when you call 911, it tells us who you are, where you are. If you have any life-saving medications that may be on you, for instance, if there's diabetes or something along those lines, it gives us your emergency contact, really just about anything that you would want emergency services to know. Voluntarily, you can give that information. We cannot access that unless you call 911, but it tells us exactly where you are right away. This is something that's available everywhere, okay, not just in Ada County. So, and most dispatch centers do use this. There's a flyer available today. Please grab this, get more information on it, scan that QR code, and learn more about Rapid SOS, okay? Okay, also for the County of Ada, the ARVP program, Ada Registry for the Vulnerable Population, this is also something that I want you all to know about. If you have or know of anyone who has kids with special needs or adults with special needs, or if there's dementia or anything along those lines, this allows us to find, similarly to Rapid SOS, but to find you and to get that person reunited with their family. So please look into this. And come see me if you have any further information about ARVP, okay? All right, there's additional information as well for Code Red. All right, and then we want you guys to come see us. We love to host community groups, give tours of our center. We even have people come sit in so you can actually listen to the 911 calls, see how emergency communications work behind the scenes, how everything's dispatched for service as well. So, any questions? Noelle.
So I'm sure you guys hear some pretty tragic incidents over the phone. Do you guys have any peer support, like formal debriefing processes for your folks that are hearing these things on the phone?
Yes, we do. That's a great question. So we also have what's called EAP, which is Employee Assistance Program with the Sheriff's Office. We take the health and wellness of our employees very seriously. So we do have those resources. They say with 911, it's like reading a really exciting book and then the book closes before you get the final chapter. And that's really kind of more how it was when I first started. But since then, we have officers that are very aware of those things. If we want to reach out to the officers to get an idea of what happened at the end of that call, they'll come in and talk to us and share that information with us. Dispatch, we are the first responders. So as far as the first responder community goes, we're more and more becoming included in all of those things. So when there is a tragic incident or a death of a child or things like that that other responders on location would want to go to those debriefs for, they're also including dispatch because we hear the very first of everything. So yeah, thank you.
Courtney, could you talk about what dispatch does if you get somebody who calls in who doesn't speak English very well, or how do you guys deal with that, and how do you do that service?
Perfect. So we have it's a language line essentially. So we're able to get an interpreter on the line really quickly. So someone calls in, we're trying to use that Rapid SOS, those location things to try to get a location first and foremost of where that caller is. And then we get an interpreter on the line to verify that that's the correct location. And then we talk to the interpreter as though we're speaking to the caller. And we try to get that information as quickly as possible to not delay service. Occasionally, we do have bilingual dispatchers as well. We have several Spanish-speaking dispatchers. So if one of those are on the floor at the time, we'll get them on the phone because it's a little bit more, it's less of a time delay, that relay back and forth while you're talking to 3 people in a conversation versus 2. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Awesome. I think that's it. Thank you so much for your time.